All right, so the Cubbies are rolling. They lost the Friday game to the Reds, but that's all right because they just came off sweeping the Rockies, as they fucking better, right? The Rockies suck ass. But losing one to the Reds, Colin Ray did not have a good game. He got kind of rocked today, but he's been pretty solid so far, so I'm not too worried about Ray. Overall, the rotation, they're going to have to go get a stud. Even when Shota comes back, I think you're short one stud playoff arm, like dependable lock. And this has to be the year. Cubs have to go all in. Jed has to go all in at the deadline. And, for years we've been hearing about the Cubs minor league system being one of the best. But when I see the lists of the top 50 prospects, I see a lot of Red Sox and Brewers up at the top, but there's only a couple Cubs that are even in the top 50 really anymore. Ballesteros, who just got his first cup of coffee in the major leagues when Happ was hurt, and he was great. He looks like a real hitter, probably a DH in the majors, but he's 21 years old, so you want to hold on to him. And then Alcantara, who you got in the Rizzo trade, he's the last remaining thing from the Rizzo trade. So he's a guy you might have to trade. Owen Casey's the other guy. He's the last remaining thing from the Darvish trade. You got nothing left from the Bryant trade. You got PCA from the Baez trade. So that was one major victory for Jed and Co. But here's the thing. So I feel like they're going to want to hold on to Casey and Alcantara because I have a devastating feeling that this is a 1 year deal with Kyle Tucker. I I mean, history tells you that the Cubs are not going to outbid the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Padres, whoever it might be for Kyle Tucker. And Tucker deserves to get paid. He's one of the best five players in Major League Baseball. He makes such a difference in that lineup. But at the end of the year, I mean, we got to ride this out with Tucker and hope he brings us to the promised land because he makes such a difference in that lineup. When you have that superstar locked into the middle of your lineup, it is just gold. It makes everyone else relax. It allows PCA to be PCA without too much pressure to be the main run producer. It lets Suzuki relax and just hit the ball. Everybody chills out because they got that reliable superstar in the middle of your lineup. But I feel like it's a 1 year thing with Tucker, so you really got to win it this year, which is a lot to say. But Tucker's probably going to get a monster contract, and history tells us that the Cubs aren't going to be the ones to do that. You know, they just don't sign guys to big contracts. And Jed's not going to want to sign a guy to a 10-year deal that takes him deep into his 30s. So what they're going to do is they're going to make a what they call a competitive offer, and they'll offer him big money for short term, and then say, hey, we made a competitive offer, but we got outbid by the Yankees or whoever. And then they'll sign PCA to what I like to call a Jed Hoyer extension, which is like a fake extension like they gave Nico and Ian Happ, where it takes you like 1 year past your arbitration eligible. Like you add on 1 year and then you make a big deal press release. Hey, we signed Nico to an extension, but it's really just a 1 year past what you would have had him anyway. It's a fake extension. They don't like signing those long-term contracts ever since Hayward, which when you look back, Hayward was a great signing and not really that onerous of a money thing. So you got to go all in. You need to fortify that bullpen. He's made some good small moves. I don't know if there's a big reliever out there to really come in, but man, I mean, that's how you win playoff series. It's with stud relievers. Aroldis Chapman, let's be honest, he was the MVP of the 2016 Cubs postseason. I mean, I know everyone contributed, but Chapman just being there puts it in the other team's head. Like, okay, we got to get it done by the 7th or the 8th because the 9th we're not going to score a thing, and we don't have that stud reliever. Palencia's looked good in the short term, a couple of real nice closeouts recently, but he's a young guy. I don't know if you can just say, okay, you're a stud closer that other teams are going to fear. And Presley, we just don't know if he's the same guy. So if you can get a stud reliever, that'd be great. If Cassie and Alcantara are the trade pieces, maybe some some lower level minor leaguers, because I feel like they're going to want to hold on to Alcantara and Casey, whatever his name is, to replace hope that one of them can replace Tucker in right field next year. They did that with Dexter Fowler when he went to the Cardinals. We could have re-signed him, but granted, I believed in Albert Almora too, and it didn't work out. But they're going to go with the younger, cheaper option. The prospect to sell us on hope instead of big wowing us with big money contracts. So who do you trade for a frontline starter and for a big time reliever? Third base. Here's the good news. Third base might be solved. Matt Shaw looking like he belongs. Kid looks like a stud defensively and contributing huge hits offensively. So there's your good news to go out on. Let's go Cubs. Let's take 2 or 3 from the Reds. Hell with Cincinnati. Bye-bye.